10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Filmed in front of a live studio audience. It's Good Afternoon, Magnolia.
Welcome to Good Afternoon, Magnolia, our midweek talk show that takes a look at mental health and up-close views of issues that are important to our Magnolia Clubhouse community. I'm Chuck, and we are back with another great show for you this week. Our show brings another panel of Magnolia Clubhouse members and staff. Let's meet with our anchors.
Well, hello, everyone. I am so glad to be back. As you know, I am the wonderful Ron. It is such a pleasure to be here, and I'm looking forward to spending some time with y'all today.
I'm Dominic. This week, we have some more interesting topics for you. We will educate you about some of your data being collected, another share entertainment segment, our new comedy segment, and much more.
Before we get into today's hot topics, let's find out about and acknowledge our sponsor.
Today's show is brought to you by Toby's Southern Collard Greens. Taste so good, make you want to smack your mama.
Okay, it's time for today's hot topic, besides smacking your mama. Chuck will lead us in a conversation about espionage.
Okay, so I guess most of you have probably heard, if you've not been under a rock for the last 12 days or so, about Chinese spy balloon that went over the United States, and then also one that went over South America.
Oh, there was a second.
And then, yeah, the same one, same kind as the one that went over the U.S. almost simultaneously. And then three other unidentified flying objects.
Ooh.
And it brought out all the conspiracy theory people. It brought out all the UFO people. It was quite something, almost like out of the Independence Day movie,
Yes.
where the president's spokesperson is on TV saying, trying to say it with a straight face,
There's nothing
but
to be worried about.
giggling at the same time, saying maybe you should go without saying, but we're pretty certain that these are not
Aliens.
extraterrestrial aliens.
Yeah.
So, Ron, what do you think about this situation with the spy balloon going over the U.S.?
So at first, I'm gonna be honest. I thought it was a bunch of bull malarkey until I started seeing the pictures and I found out they actually shot a balloon down. But you know, there's a lot of conjecture out there. But you know, being a person who believes in logic myself, let's go to the facts. Here's what we know about the balloon and these other objects. On January 28th, China's surveillance balloon entered U.S. airspace near Alaska before...
I'm going to stop you. Something came out just yesterday that actually the United States visually was watching when they launched it from China.
Mm-hmm.
They actually saw the launch of
The balloon itself.
and before it even made it over the U.S., they were tracking it all the way back from when it had gotten launched. And, you know, we do that with spy satellites.
Yeah.
You know?
And we do that for pretty much any air thing anywhere in the world, not just balloons.
Right. And
But up
I'll
until
get right
yesterday-
back to you, though. The other weird thing is about 15 or 20 years ago, there was a thing in Look magazine, I believe it was, that showed how accurate spy satellites were. And they actually showed the license plate of a car at the Kremlin in Russia.
And this
It
was
was taken from outer space.
back in the 80s?
Yes, this was back in
So
the
you can
80s.
just
Maybe
imagine,
even
you can
before
just
the
imagine
80s.
just how detailed those cameras are now.
Right.
Well, let's keep going with the facts,
Okay,
Ron.
so now we're up to the balloon.
So up until yesterday, the White House has said there's so far no indication that the three unidentified objects were a part of China's spying program or involved in external intelligence collection efforts. The United States is also ruling out that they were U.S. government objects. He said, though it is still possible they were linked to commercial and or research entities. So the hypothesis is that, you know, maybe China wasn't trying to spy. Maybe the weather balloons, quote unquote, got blown in the U.S. Airspace accidentally, and they were just following the current, like the wind current that was carrying them. However, a lot of people are dismissing that and saying no, that China was definitely spying because they found a lot of sensors and other equipment on the balloon when it was shot down.
And I think also didn't they find that the weather balloon, which was the size of 3 buses, if I'm not mistaken,
so
it had the ability to maneuver.
Yeah.
That it actually could maneuver. So
yeah, and weather balloons do have the ability to maneuver to an extent. What makes this it's always interesting to me because these kinds of things happen all the time in international politics, where one country's weather balloon will blow over another's sovereign space, and usually when this happens, if it gets shot down, it will be done so quietly because no one really cares. But this time, what happened, there are 2 things that are weird. One, it was a weather balloon that was in way up north that somehow blew over the continental United States, and then it was all the civilians could see it. The other weird thing is the payload size, which is the 3 buses, but that's also not necessarily unheard of either because, okay, so like if the Chinese wanted to spy, they'd be able to, right? We all have TikTok on our phones, and that's not a conspiracy theory. Like the Tencent literally collects our data and sells it to the Chinese government. That's not a conspiracy theory. Like, this is almost certainly researchers or something along those lines. And that's the thing, is that if this is some kind of private entity or some kind of research or scientist or whatever, they're not going to want to openly disclose what they're doing for the same reasons that if anyone, any company were to get caught doing anything, any kind of development, they're not going to want to say openly, "Oh yeah, this is what we're doing."
Right.
You know, it's trade secrets.
I even my kids got me a Apple Watch for Christmas, and the other day I was talking about I don't know, something that I needed at home, and I went to log on to the internet to check my email, and guess what? There was an ad for the thing that I was talking about needing at home, and I go, "That's interesting. Wonder how they knew." It was my damn
It wasn't listening
smartwatch.
to you.
Yeah, it was listening to
It
me.
wasn't listening
It was
to you.
listening to me.
That's
They
not how
say
it
it's
works.
not, but somehow it was. So there's lots of other concerns that we need to think about, maybe more than the balloon situation. But the balloon situation was interesting because they do say that just if you think about it, if you think about the technology of the cameras and stuff that are in the satellites, if you brought those down to 60,000 feet, you'd probably be able to read a novel that was laying in the front seat of that car that was in the...
Actually, interesting fact, the balloon was actually shot down from 60,000 feet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
it would have been able to get much things. So anyway, good discussion. Everybody talk with your friends about this. It's a kind of a fun thing to think about. And it's time for our hospitality segment. Our smoothies have become so popular, and we are returning them to the cafe with one of our baristas are going to talk to you about today's or this month's flavors.
Hey Magnolia Clubhouse, here's your girl Latavia with our girl Melanie making smoothies, okay? You want to tell us about the flavors and how we doing it?
So I'm making berry smoothies with strawberries, blueberries, kale, sweet potatoes, and yogurt. And that one's gonna come out like purplish. And we're making a green smoothie, which includes bananas, peaches, spinach, and yogurt. It's delicious. I've been sweetening it with granola, and that just kind of took off.
It all together.
Pulled it all together for today. You take the pre-made package that the hospitality unit made and put it in the Ninja blender with a little bit of juice. I hit the blend button twice. Well, first, if it's frozen solid, I unthaw it for 35 seconds so it don't break the blade. But then we hit the blend button twice, and I mix the smoothies up.
So that was our smoothie making process. That's how it go down in Cleveland.
Man, listen. I don't know about nobody else smoothie. I know Magnolia Clubhouse smoothie is the bomb.
Those smoothies look delicious, and for just $1, you can't beat it.
In today's political report, we will learn why the government needs to do a better job at protecting all of us.
Your data is for sale. Can you believe that companies are selling our mental health data? And what's more shocking is the fact that they're not only selling our names, but found out a report that they're selling information including your home address for people with depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, bipolar disorder, and they have the audacity to be selling it in the thousands, that they are getting paid $275 for each group of 1,000 A-limit contracts. These data brokers operated in the past in a gray area of the law, and sadly enough, this controversial corner has only grown due to the pandemic. These companies are not regulated by the government, and according to the report, HIPAA does not apply to these companies. Sadly, I have to let you know that GoodRx was fined $1.5 million by the Federal Trade Commission, or the FTC, for compiling a list of users who bought certain medication, including heart disease and blood pressure, and then used that data to target you on Facebook with ads based on what you bought. More information can be found online.
It's very alarming to learn, and I hope something is done soon. Let's go to Sherry for another entertainment report.
Yeah, Sherry here for the entertainment report. So glad to be back. I have some more entertainment news. I'm pretty sure most of y'all, because most people are millennials here, you guys know a certain singer by the name of Selena Gomez. Miss Selena Gomez was diagnosed, I want to say some time ago, maybe about 5 or 6 years ago, with bipolar disorder. Miss Selena has been having quite a lot of issues. She also had like a kidney transfusion, all types of things. So just recently, this girl goes to the Grammys with her sister, Miss Selena Gomez, goes to the Grammys with her sister to enjoy a nice night. And everyone, kind of criticizes her because she's put on some weight. So, there's this big thing with this child, actually, them considering her overweight, which I don't think she looked bad at all. Had she gained weight? Yes. What did it need to be brought up? Not really, because it's not that much. The reason I bring this up is there are certain psych meds that, do bring on, more weight and it depends on the individual how that goes. But, she's doing quite well just in her mental health journey. I say leave the child alone. Not to mention, because she got a new kidney, she's kind of has to be on steroids for, like, I want to say possibly the rest of her life. So either way you look at it, it is health reasons as to why this child might have put on weight. So I say literally leave her alone. Let her be happy. Let's stop the criticism. The fact that she even told the world she has bipolar, she didn't have to do that, but she's one of those people that's trying to take the stigma away. Leave that child alone. Let her live. Let her be happy. She's a young lady and she shouldn't be going through all the drama of people telling her how she needs to look. So by all means, leave Selena Gomez alone.
Thanks, Sherry, for that report. Selena is brave for being in the spotlight with her mental health. That story leads us right into our mental health break.
For today's mental health break, we are going to look at taking an actual break and when you may need to pause for a few minutes, a day, or as long as it takes for you to center yourself. Here are 5 signs that you may need to take a mental health break. Number 1, you can't focus. Number 2, your relationships are suffering. Number 3, you're showing physical signs of stress. Number 4, your self-care no longer exists. And 5, you're running on empty. If you feel any of these symptoms during the work order day, you may need to step away for a few minutes to help you regain your focus. If this doesn't work and these symptoms persist you may want to talk to your staff and come up with a plan. Taking a step back and engaging in mental health break can be one tool in your mental health plan.
Happify is a great app for boosting the mood. This app uses games to boost your mood. The activities were developed with the positive psychology techniques and CBT interventions. The apps let you choose games to help you with different areas, including coping with stress, fueling your career success, achieving mindfulness through meditation, conquering negative thoughts, building self-confidence. These are a few games and paid versions of Happify. The free version gives you access to some games and information. For today's hotline, we have the crisis text line, 741-741. It's a resource that any person that needs help coping with stressful situations. Reach out by texting to communicate with someone trained to listen and respond in a method that is private, secure, and confidential. Text for hope and you will be connected to a trained counselor within 5 minutes. The crisis line is a free confidential service available 24/7 via text on mobile devices.
Mental health and physical health can be connected. Let's see what we can learn from today's self-care segment.
Personal hygiene. Many diseases and conditions can be prevented or controlled through appropriate personal hygiene and by regularly washing parts of the body and hair with soap and water. Good body washing practices can prevent the spread of hygiene-related diseases. Keeping hands clean, nail hygiene, facial cleanliness, coughing and sneezing, foot hygiene, hair and scalp hygiene, menstrual hygiene. Remember that keeping up with your hygiene is very important. It is actually a protective measure against diseases. We shed about 600,000 particles of skin every hour, which works out to be about 1.5 pounds of skin per year, or 105 pounds of skin by the time you reach the age 70.
For today's Clubhouse News segment, we have a holiday to discuss.
Hey there, Clubhouse. This is Victoria with a reminder for all of you. We are closed on February 20th, 2023 to observe President's Day. Have an extra long weekend. Thanks.
I enjoyed filming with Keith last week on his new music segment. Here is part 2 of our conversation.
Next up is Anita Pointer from the Fable Pointer Singers song. Now, the Pointer Singers, before they got into recording, they were noted church choir.
Right,
That's
yeah,
where
like a gospel choir.
They were noted in, they were very rich in gospel music before they actually done recording music. Now, Anita Pointer was basically the focal point of that group, the Pointer Sisters, and they did a lot of work before they became public in the mid to late 70s.
I think the big thing, the big crossover thing was Jump.
Yes, correct. It was Jump, and the other one was I think there was another song.
Weren't they involved in one of the Ghostbusters songs?
I believe they were.
Yes, and I think that was their next big thing.
Were.
And then they really became a very big crossover artist, crossover group, and so they became very, very popular. Not just with the R&B, they became popular in mainstream.
In mainstream, right? That was the one thing that the Pointer Sisters did have in common was a unique method to their songs, which has a lot of crossover favorability. A lot of their songs were a lot of crossover hits, which all people had loved, and she will sorely be missed too.
That was an interesting conversation. I mean,
Do you guys want to laugh? I heard Matthew had a new joke he tested out in the club.
Oh boy.
Hey Octavia, I got a joke. Want to hear it?
Yeah, what's the joke?
So, why did the Bluebird get a ticket?
I don't know why.
It was jaywalking.
That was so funny, don't you think?
If you say so.
We have reached the end of another show. Ron and Dominic, how do you think this week's show went?
Well, I thought that joke could have been better. I mean, I thought that, Selena, was very brave for coming forward with her mental health issues. And I think that, I am really worried about the fact that, companies can actually sell your data and you don't have any control over whether or not they can or can't. Like, they can take your data without your permission. They don't even need your consent. Medical data and everything.
That's definitely something that Congress needs to start looking into doing.
Mm-hmm.
I also thought it was very interesting that when we were talking about when Keith and I were talking about the rock and roll folks who had died recently, that one of the three had some pretty severe mental health issues that he was dealing with right up to his death, and that was David Crosby. And
who was that?
So David Crosby from Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. I'm sorry that you're too young to know this.
All right. Well, let's make sure you tune in next week for another episode of Good
Afternoon
Magnolia. See you next time.
The opinions expressed by Good Afternoon Magnolia do not always represent the views of Magnolia Clubhouse.
If you're living with mental illness, join the club.